Hey everyone, hope you're having a great new year. I just wanted to say this really quick before the video starts. Welcome to the first video on my channel, Henry Cinema. I have no idea what this is going to be about at all, really. I just know that I like to talk about movies and I wanted to make a channel about it where I can, try and build somewhat of a community around movies. So, without further ado, let's get into the first video. And I'm sorry if the quality isn't great. This is literally my first time doing this, so hopefully it'll improve as time goes on and on. The other day I was sitting on my couch, which you guys can't see, so I don't know why I'm pointing to it, but I was sitting on my couch with my girlfriend and we were scrolling through all the streaming services as you do, trying to find a movie to watch. And we were on Netflix and I found this one movie that looked intriguing called Mixtape, and I watched the little trailer for it in the box, and it had this really funny scene of a couple girls in a record store, and they go up to the clerk and they're like, "Hey, I want you to drive us to this concert. Can you take us there?" And he said no. And as he said no, a customer walked into the store, and to fuck with the guy that works at the store that said no, they pretended to find a Britney Spears CD, and they said, "Oh my gosh, it's Britney Spears, like no way," blah blah blah, like just being little girls. A record store, and it made the super artsy dude. I don't know, I just never seen that in a movie and I thought it was funny. I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, "Hey, do you want to watch this movie?" And she said nope, and I was like, okay, I guess we're not gonna watch that. A couple days later I came back to it because I kept thinking about that scene and I was like, I want to watch that movie. Like, I wonder what that's going to be. And to be honest, I had slightly low expectations just based on the fact that it is a Netflix original movie that wasn't being advertised very heavily, as in I never saw an ad for it. Typically those are not, at least in my experience, they're not the greatest things in the whole entire world. A lot of the time they're enjoyable, but they're not like the greatest things in the whole entire world. And what I found was a fantastic script, a great performance, a couple great performances, and a really, really compelling story. Like, shockingly compelling story that I was super into, and I wasn't expecting it, and I wanted to just come on and talk about it. Something that I haven't seen people talk about. Yeah, Mixtape. Julie Bowen plays a grandmother in this movie, which is slightly weird. What the story of this movie is there's this 12-year-old girl, and she's an orphan, and she lives with her grandma. Her parents died when she was very young, and she wants to know everything about her parents, right? She wants to know if they would like her. She wants to know if they like the same things. She wants to know what they did. She wants to know everything about them, obviously. But the grandma has a really hard time talking about it because it's her daughter that died, and she has a hard time talking about it because it makes her emotional. Therefore, the 12-year-old girl named Beverly doesn't really know much about her parents. So one day she's in the basement and she is sorting through stuff down there, and she comes across this mixtape that her parents made, and she thinks it's a letter to her, like a message to her from her parents. And she puts the mixtape in her Walkman and she puts her headphones on and she starts listening, and then the mixtape gets shredded. Basically, she goes on a hunt to find all the songs that she couldn't listen to that were on the mixtape, and along the way she meets friends and goes on adventure. I thought it was an original idea, just the whole mixtape thing and the way they made that into, we got to find each of these pieces movie plot line. The mixtape part of it, and having her wanting to find that from her parents, and then like exploring music, was a super interesting part of it that I haven't really seen in a movie before, and maybe that happens all the time and I just haven't watched enough movies, but for me, I hadn't seen it very often, and I thought it was a really cool thing. The script in this movie was fantastic in so many different ways, especially on some of the emotional parts towards the end of the movie, and some of the comedy was great too, but especially some of the emotional parts towards the end of the movie were really well written, and just they made me feel something. The directing was, it left something to desire. I don't feel like the director pulled everything out of the performances that they could have. I don't think they really felt the script or the idea of the movie all that much, and also the editing was fairly atrocious in certain parts. Really disappointing to have that there, because otherwise this would have been a really, really good movie and I would have really enjoyed it, but the direction really pulls it back, and so does that editing. I want to see this movie be remade at some point. I want to see someone else take their hand at it, a bigger studio take their hand at it, or maybe it takes like a artsy indie route. I think all those things would be really cool. It just, those two things left me disappointed. And I don't know if I really call this a review, but that's basically my review of this movie. And if you have seen it, let me know what you think. I'm actually very curious. People on Letterboxd just seem to somewhat agree with me. And then it seems like just not very many people have watched it. So if you haven't seen it, I still recommend you check it out. I think it's worth a watch for sure. Especially if you like coming of age movies. It's definitely worth a watch. And I would be curious after you watch it what you think about it. Yeah, that's going to be it for the first little video that I've ever done. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, have a good New Year, and I'll see you guys next time. Hit that like and subscribe. Maybe we can get some subscribers in here. And yeah, thanks guys. Have a beautiful New Year, and I will catch you next time.